I remember blacking out where my friend took me to her house. My phone was broken. I think I vomited on myself. One thing you and I have in common is big dreams. We all have big dreams. We aspire to do great things in our life. I want to share with you guys 8 powerful reasons why I decided to stop drinking and stop smoking cannabis in 2024. I also, around that time, it was at the beginning of 2024 when I decided to start my YouTube channel, and look at us now at 37,000 subscribers, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you guys who have been showing your support as we glow up together, we rebrand. We've honestly been on this journey to live intentionally, find our own happiness, create the life of our dreams, and I'm so grateful to be a part of each one of your journey. In 2024, I decided that some things were no longer serving me, and I do have more to share, but in this particular video, I'm going to be talking about why I personally prefer not to consume alcohol or have cannabis anymore. Now, I wasn't one that was heavily into alcohol just because I had a really bad experience with alcohol during high school. It was about the time of my prom, and I had tons of alcohol on that night. I remember blacking out where my friend took me to her house. My phone was broken. I think I vomited on myself. It was just terrible. And from then, I just had a really hard time stomaching certain alcohols. And so I feel like as I was growing up as an adult, I only chose to drink because of a social setting or if somebody else was doing it. I don't feel like I was peer pressured. I feel like I chose to do a lot of things in my life that may not have served me just because I was around certain people or I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be intoxicated and get a buzz and, a dopamine hit, and I was chasing all of the wrong things until I realized that I'm waking up in my later 20s and I'm not where I want to be. And so that was my deciding factor of just sitting down with myself and realizing that God has placed me here for more, and I am just wasting my time on earth. I've always wanted to be on YouTube. I had a client actually that was like, hey, can you please make videos on YouTube so I can go and watch them? Because this is the kind of energy, the realness and rawness that I give my clients in person and that I've been giving you guys. I'm gonna do that, but in order for me to do it, I knew that I needed a clear mind. So I was a girl that just enjoyed her cannabis. I loved my vapes. I actually started out with pre-rolls because I don't know how to roll. And then I went into the vapes, right? And they were just so convenient and they were so tiny. They look like a pen. They could fit in your purse. And it was always a vibe. However, I knew that anytime I smoked, I was not productive. I would either want to eat down my house. I would want to go out and munch down. If I was going out for date nights, my man doesn't smoke, but he allowed it, right? I feel like he tolerated me or he allowed it. He didn't make me feel bad about it. So I would smoke and I would eat, but then I would wake up the next day. I would just be a couch potato. I'd be an airhead as well. I just was not performing at my highest level of who I could possibly become. So since I knew that YouTube would require me to tap in to my higher self, I can't just show up with a hangover. I can't just show up. I'm a coach. At the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, I'm a coach, I'm a leader first. I wanted to tap into my leadership. I knew that that is what God has called me to do. I do my business so well. I manage and work with clients so well. I've been with you guys and I've been doing this so well. Some people are like, oh, can you teach me how to do YouTube? Honestly, I'm still figuring it out, but I'm just being myself and I'm still using my phone. I decided in 2024 that I was just gonna cut out cannabis. And I'm gonna get into the 8 reasons, guys. Just stick with me. I never drive when I'm drinking, but I love to drive. So it was either or, and I would prefer to drive because I like to leave. If I don't like the vibe, I'm leaving. If I wanna go home, I'm leaving. If I'm done, I'm leaving. So I like to drive. That way I can leave. But I also just like to, get in and out of my gorgeous car. And I like when I'm driving my beautiful car, I want it to represent the leader that I am. For me to be a Black young woman driving a luxury car and who she is as a person, and her character reflects that. And I'm not saying that just because you drink or smoke that you don't have a good character. I'm saying that for me, I know that when I'm intoxicated, I don't make the best decisions, right? So when I'm out, I want to reflect what God called me to be, and it wasn't reflecting. Not just because I'm driving a nice car, I just want everything about me to reflect what God has called me to be, and that is a leader. That is somebody who walks into the room and doesn't need to be intoxicated just because she lacks confidence, just because she's timid or she's shy and she needs some comfort for her to make her feel comfortable in a room full of people she may not know. I used to do that because I was uncomfortable. And so number one, I wasn't allowing myself to show up and perform at my best, at my higher level. And that directly impacted how I made money. That right there is going to be a problem if I can't make the money that I deserve. I wanted an abundant life. I wanted a fruitful life. I wanted a life full of leisure and freedom. I wanted a life where I feel healthy, I'm sexy, I'm hot, I'm confident, I'm smart, I make good decisions that benefit my future. I just know that I wanted more. And when I was intoxicated, I honestly wasn't making the greatest decisions. And so it has to really just come down to really reflecting on, you're somebody who cannot handle a certain amount of alcohol or have any self-control. One glass won't hurt, 2 glasses won't hurt, but you know what I mean? There are limits, there are boundaries to absolutely everything in this world. And I feel like sometimes we over abuse what is given to us or what we have access to. And certain substances just make you weak and vulnerable, and not weak and vulnerable in a good way. Weak and vulnerable in a way where you're not making conscious decisions that are going to help your future. And most times they're actually setting you back from your desired result. So the second reason is I needed a clear mind. And when I was intoxicated, I wasn't able to have a clear mind for better decision making. I want you to ask yourself this question: do I make good decisions when I'm intoxicated? My partner and I went out for a date night the other night, and honey, I was dressed so nicely. I felt really good. The hair is a vibe. We went out and there was a table of women, maybe 10, and they were so loud. It was so annoying that older women were this loud, and just when you're intoxicated, I don't even think you hear yourself sometimes, or the things that come out of your mouth or your behaviors. And obviously you're not thinking clearly. When you want to become your higher self, you want to become that girl, that woman that walks into the room and captivates your soul, right? That is me. That is who I wanted to be. I'm never gonna be sitting at a table with a bunch of women that are obnoxiously loud and can't handle their alcohol, can't handle how much they're drinking. Like I said before, there is a limit. Once you find yourself drifting where you have no control over yourself, out of your words, your actions, you need to call an Uber and go home. Or just sit in a corner and be silent, because sometimes people don't realize that they only hinder their future rather than helping it. You never know who is in that room when you're acting all crazy. And so I've had moments where I've acted crazy. That was the younger me. I would say I really started to carry myself like a leader when I was about 25, 26. And so there's just a certain way that I maneuver through the world, just because when I was, freshly single, I knew that I wanted to attract a certain type of men, right? I wanted to attract a certain type of men. And these men don't like loud women. These men don't like obnoxious women. These men don't like women that don't know how to walk, especially if you're intoxicated. You don't know how to talk, especially if you're intoxicated. Knowing that I had big goals, making the choice to maintain sobriety gave me the clarity that I needed to make intentional decisions in my life that actually benefited my future. Instead of being clouded by alcohol or smoke, I was able to dedicate my time to activities that moved me forward and helped me to succeed. Instead of going out every night, I found myself some nights reading. I found myself learning how to edit. I found myself learning how to start on YouTube YouTube, I found myself on YouTube Googling how to do this, sometimes going to the gym. I found myself doing activities that were going to move me forward in life. And if I was not doing something that was going to move me forward, right, I would not be here. Because when you're intoxicated, especially when I would smoke, I would just want to eat and sleep and repeat. So what was I really doing that was gonna move me forward? And who you're speaking to and what you're saying, what is coming out of your mouth. I see this behavior every single time I go out. And I'm telling you, when you observe what actually happens in the world where people are intoxicated, it's quite entertaining having a conversation with somebody who's intoxicated. They have no idea what they are saying. They could have so many degrees and they still have no idea or recollection of what came out of their mouth. And that is so embarrassing. Listen, especially people are always like, oh, how'd you start your business? How did you gain so many clients? How are you able to work for yourself? Number 3 is being a product of what you sell. I have been in the fitness space for over 10 years. Over time, I realized that I am the product that I present. To be someone that is credible and genuine, you need to be your higher self. You need to be intentionally showing up as your best self, especially when it comes to your business and you are taking payments from people who are expecting you to change their life. And I know that I'm meant for greatness, right? I have coaches that see greatness in me, and I have clients where I see greatness in them. However, sometimes when you look back at your own reflection, you don't see your own potential. You don't see your greatness. There were times during my bodybuilding careers where I shortened myself. I decided to cheat on my diet. I had the munchies because I was intoxicated. And then when I would check in with my coaches, they'd be like, girl, what happened? And I was over here in my fields, doubting my potential, doubting my capabilities because I was intoxicated. So I'm already not in the right mind. And I'm like, you know what, forget about it. I'm just gonna open a bag of chips. I'm just gonna self-sabotage my way. And I wasn't able to perform at my best. I was okay with getting second and third and fifth. I think fifth was and fifth, knowing that I had the potential to hit first places. And I've done that many times before, right? I've done that many times before. But then sometimes, some seasons, you just cave into your thoughts. You cave into self-sabotaging. You cave into your doubt. And I have people around me that believe in me and see my greatness. And it wasn't fair that I wasn't seeing my own greatness. So I decided that I really needed to hone in on cutting habits that no longer served the version of who I desire to become, especially knowing that God placed me here to be a leader. Now, God does not need to tell you himself that he has placed you here to be a leader. Every person on this earth is here for a purpose, right? And a lot of people have not found their purpose. But why you have not found your purpose is because oftentimes we're distracted or we're intoxicated. We're not in the right headspace, right? We're comparing our lives to people, or we're distracted in our phones, or we're intoxicated. You really just have to look at what bad habits are you consumed by? What bad habits are you distracted by? And so I realized that I wasn't being able to show up as a leader. I have been in this space for years. I could have been on YouTube a long time ago. I haven't even posted my bodybuilding journey of when I started as a baby and I was able to become a pro Olympian bodybuilder. That's not even on YouTube. How sad. I should talk about it. I will talk about it. Overall, this message, number 3, you need to become the product that you would like to sell. If you're looking to open a business and align and attract clients, you need to become the product. You need to actually become the product. You can't be out here, I'm a fitness trainer, and you eat terrible food and you can't even help somebody with their meal plan. I help clients with their emotional eating because I've been there and I've taken myself from there to learn what triggers me and to learn new recipes and to incorporate balance. Everything that I go through and teach in life is for a greater purpose. And I have to become the version of my higher self that my clients are looking to become for themselves. Because I've been there, I pulled myself out of there. And if I continue with the bad habits, how can I really see my clients through? Any client that has worked with me will tell you that I will see it through because I believe in them. Just like my coaches believed in me. There is greatness in every one of you. There's greatness in each and every one of you. It's us that usually stand in our own way because we're looking for a dopamine hit. We're looking for quick fixes. Honestly, I would say we're just looking for a pause in the day or pause in the time. There are so many moments where I just wish that time could pause for me so I could just have my mental breakdown, right? And so instead I would just smoke and then I would just eat and go back to sleep, and then that would be the day. And I would wake up in a cycle knowing that I have to be somewhere at a certain time, and then when I come home, I'm still in my feels, I go back and do the same cycle. And it wasn't allowing me to show up as my best self. So you really need to look at what is really consuming you that has you further from your potential. Or number 4 is going to be, it wasn't making me happy. Truthfully, it's probably not making you happy. Oftentimes when we are intoxicated, you're probably happy in the moment, but once that thing is out of your system and you are back to reality, you are on the other side of happiness. Let's be honest, you're on the other side of happiness. It's just like pre-workout. You get a nice boost in your energy, and then when that pre-workout is out of your system, you are exhausted. This is why I don't take pre-workout. I really just don't believe in any substances that give you a boost and a fall. I don't want it in my system. That's pretty much it. I don't want to be playing around with my mood. I don't want to play around with my energy. I don't want to play around with my emotions. I don't even like people in my life that do that either. They come in with their nice energy and then they're ready to tear me up. I don't want you around me. There's that too in itself, because we all know on that decline, you are far from happy. At the time, I thought drinking and smoking would help me cope. But honestly, it was only a temporary fix. In reality, it only allowed me to suppress my emotions rather than processing my emotions. And now that I've built a relationship with myself where if I'm not mentally or emotionally feeling well, I sit and ask myself, no matter how long I have to cry for, I'm trying to have a conversation with myself to be like, Shen, what do you need right now? What happened? Try to assess, try to address the situation, the mood, the energy, what happened. Get to the trigger, get to the breakdown. I need you to start to build a relationship with yourself where you are in tune with your mood, with your emotions, with your mental state, when you need a rest, when you feel like you're burnt out, when you feel like you're overwhelmed, when you feel like you're lonely. Because I know that most times when I just felt lonely, that is when I chose to be intoxicated, when I felt lonely. And so I had to address, okay, Shen, this is what you're going to do now instead of this because you feel lonely. Like I preach to you guys all the time about finding your own happiness, finding coping mechanisms that bring you happiness, finding your own joy, your rhythm in this world, and not relying on other people or substances to make you feel happy. Nothing outside of yourself should be priority to making you happy. It's right here. You have the power, trust me. So that is what I had to really tap into, finding my own happiness, going for a walk, going to the gym. Because when I go to the gym, I will be dealing with my demons as I'm doing every hip thrust rep, when I'm doing every kickback, and my body is changing, my mood is changing, the way I feel about myself is changing. And then those problems or those issues look a lot smaller. And sometimes I don't even care about them as much as I did in the moment. You need to find your happiness, and that is not through anything outside of you. That is about doing things that actually add to your higher self and don't hinder you from your higher self, because we are usually standing in the way. Intoxication is only giving you fleeting moments of pleasure, temporary pleasure. And in this world, so many lack discipline and self-control just because we want pleasure. In this world, temporary pleasure, I want you to know that temporary pleasure doesn't bring you long-term happiness. I was so tired of feeling empty. I was just so tired of feeling empty. And I really just want you to sit down and just pay attention. When you're done, do you feel good? Or when you take care of yourself, how do you feel? When you take care of yourself, you feel good. When these substances, even pre-workout, drift and they're out of your system, you're on the other side of happiness. Why do you want to keep going back to that toxic cycle? Which leads to number 5, healthier choices. Honey, when I was intoxicated, I was not looking for any of the food that I'm eating. I would want to crush a whole pack of Oreo cookies or a bag of chips or order me some takeout. I used to have those apps on my phone and they would get used religiously. And what did my body look like? 40 pounds heavier than where I am today, with tons of breakouts and acne scars. Honey, I was not feeling my best. And that is because when I'm intoxicated, honey, I want to chow down, I want to eat. I'm not trying to eat none of the healthy food that's in my fridge either, nor was I really trying to go to the gym. Waking up hungover and exhausted became a routine. And listen, that's a routine for some of you guys. Let me tell you something. I want you to look at your daily habits and how you start your morning, how you even end your night. When I tell you that you are meant for greatness, you have been sleeping on yourself. When I remember my old place, I remember my first condo was so tiny, it was in a shoebox. And looking at the walls that I am in now, the spaces that I'm in now, the lifestyle that I have now, my goodness, if I didn't realize that my daily habits were impacting where I would be 5 years from now, I would have changed them a long time ago. But nonetheless, I'm grateful for the experience and the redirections that I've had over time. But mark my words when I say God showed you this video for a reason. And you need to share this video with somebody else today, because listen, it's not worth it. If it's impacting your routine, your productivity, you showing up to go after your goals, it's not worth it. Let me be the one to tell you, if you want to see something happen in your life and make something shake, you need to put those bad habits on the back burner. Analyze your life right now. Are you making choices? Are you making good choices that allow you to wake up with the fullest amount of energy in the morning? Listen, you're not always going to be motivated. You're not always going to want to be productive. You're not always going to be in that mood, right? But when you know that you have somewhere to be, you have goals and deadlines to meet, honey, baby, you better get up. And when you're intoxicated, you're not able to perform at your best. I'm going to keep saying it. You're not able to perform at your best. And so I realized eventually in that small, tiny condo that I couldn't grow. I wasn't growing. Waking up with a hangover or feeling exhausted only became a routine, which internally drained my energy and my motivation. How many of you guys can actually agree? When I decided to not drink or smoke anymore, I was able to take better care of my body and actually see results. How many times have you not shown up to a workout or put it on the back burner just because you were intoxicated, you had a hangover, you had a headache, you were dehydrated, you were bloated, constipated, you weren't feeling your best, you had a meltdown, or now you're having problems because last night you were intoxicated and got into a fight with your partner or with your friends, and so now you wake up and there's drama on your head. How many times have you been intoxicated and had to say, I can't make it to the gym, I can't go grocery shopping, I can't meal prep, I can't do my self-care day because I chose to do this last night, or I chose to involve myself in some of these bad habits? Once it starts affecting your growth, your glow, it needs to go. You can't keep waking up and having these kind of bad cycles and these bad habits on repeat, thinking that you're gonna have a different outcome in life. Your outcome is going to be based on how you choose to spend your 24 hours. Are you living intentionally? Are you making decisions that fit your future, that your future self would thank you for what you're doing right now? That is it. If alcohol and smoking is standing in the way of you getting to your body goals, you don't want your body goals that bad. feeling good about yourself, feeling confident, feeling sexy in your body, whether it's with clothes on or naked, you don't really want it that bad. You're gonna be comparing yourself to other people you see on the internet, because I damn know that unfortunately, I'm sure people would compare themselves to me. But you know what? You got to compare yourselves to your own habits. You got to compare yourself to your own mindset. You got to compare yourself, you versus you, because you comparing yourself to somebody else who may be doing the work or may not be doing the work, you need to mind your own business and start being up on your business and holding yourself accountable. That is exactly what I did. I got off of social media, especially now, and I'm doing what I need to do for me to get into a routine. So I continue to show up for myself. Once I've mastered the routine, I'll be outside. Being sober just allows me to feel physically good, physically well, and actually take care of my body more in a sustainable way. Life is all about balance. I'm not saying that you have to completely remove all these things. If it doesn't serve you, then just remove it. But if you have self-control, I don't see why 1 drink or 2 drinks won't hurt you. But if it's gonna hurt or hinder your life, it's not worth having in your life. Number 6, making life decisions that actually allowed my life to progress. The decisions that I made while intoxicated often didn't serve me well. They were choices that set me back or left me stuck. Since the beginning of 2024 and living intentionally, I have been able to make decisions that are in alignment with my goals, with the future me that I desire to become, helping me to move forward in life. I think one thing that people need to realize is that we're gonna go through a lot of emotional roller coasters in life. And if you are intoxicated or you are just down bad in your mental or emotional health, you really need to be very mindful and cautious of that state. You will never be able to make good decisions when you are down bad like that. I've been there, and that's why I say this. I had to get to a point in life where I realized that life wasn't happening to me, it was happening for me. And through a lot of those obstacles, God was strengthening my character, which internally led me to becoming the leader that I am today, that benefit my future and add to who I am today and who I desire to become. You have to get really clear about who you want to become. Like, I always knew that I wanted to be a leader, but in the back of my mind, I never really considered the way that I dressed. And I'm gonna say that I dress more on the sexier side. Now that I'm becoming more aware of that, I'm intentionally making decisions where I find outfits that are a little bit more elegant, that match and reflect who I want to become. Everything that I do needs to align with who I want to become and what I want my life to look like in reality. Number 7, setting and sticking to boundaries. I know many of you guys are going to agree when I say this, but when I was intoxicated, I would tolerate things that I normally wouldn't, like unproductive conversations or relationships that drained me. Honey, what? Even friendships that drained me. And I feel like for me, alcohol is a choice. It's not a necessity. It's something where if I go out, it's a choice if I want to have it, if I want to consume it or not. Sometimes I'll have a mocktail, other times I'll choose 1 glass of wine, or I'll just drink water. And I get it. Some people will ask, oh, how do you not feel the social pressures or feel off when you're probably the only one not drinking? Well, I am my own person, right? And you have to be surrounded by people who respect your decisions and respect your boundaries. I remember being out with a group of older women last year, and I remember her turning to me and she's like, wow, you're really good at saying no. I was like, you got to be really good at saying no, because I know what I want for my future. If I know that I have to get up in the morning and do my cardio, I am not going to jeopardize the tomorrow. I'm not going to jeopardize my tomorrow just to blend in and make other people feel comfortable. I wanted to work on my confidence so that I never had to rely on a substance to make me feel confident to be in anyone's room or any spaces or sit at anyone's table to feel like I'm enough or heard or seen. Work on your confidence, and that is going to be enough. When you know how to say no, when you know how to walk away, when you know how to move at your own beat and not for the comfort of other people. A lot of people think that because they're doing something, you got to do it too. No, make your own choices. I'm gonna make mine. As you're working on yourself, and especially as I have been working on myself, I've learned to stand on my boundaries, but you have to create some boundaries in the beginning, in the first place. Stand on your boundaries. Get really good at saying no to things that do not serve you. That's one thing that I learned. Start saying no to things that don't serve you. I used to be afraid of the word no. I don't even like to hear no's myself. And I don't really hear no's myself because anything I'm asking for is usually beneficial to somebody or is intentional of what comes out of my mouth. But sometimes the old me, I was not really good at saying no to things, and it would definitely go against my goals or what I had planned for tomorrow. So listen, it's so important to keep your vision strong and focus on what really matters. When you have a goal, focus on the goal. Anything else outside of it, it is a choice. And if it doesn't allow you to grow, if it doesn't add to your happiness, if it doesn't add to your health, your well-being, your mental clarity, your mental peace, your emotional well-being, then always stand on business and set those boundaries, period. And number 8 is going to be authenticity and true confidence. I love this one. When you're intoxicated, you have a new sense of freedom and confidence. You can now walk into any room because you're invincible. I remember feeling like that. However, I wasn't truly being myself. I was hiding behind a mask. And I'm sure many of you guys can agree. That is really the feeling. When you are intoxicated and it's fake confidence, you are hiding behind a mask. And eventually it's gonna have to come off, especially if you wanna run your own business. Let me tell you that. I allowed alcohol and smoking to create a version of me that wasn't real, that wasn't my true self. When I realized this and I took my power back, this just allowed me to show up as my authentic self, unapologetically confident and bold without the crutch of substances, and comfortable with who I truly am. Most people in this world are very uncomfortable with who they are. They haven't accepted their insecurities or their flaws. They don't even realize, or you probably don't even realize, the person in front of you, beside you, around you, we are all human. We are all made with flaws and insecurities. We are all made with something that we're good at and something that we're terrible at. Oftentimes we're in this world searching for perfection, for ourselves to be perfect. We're not meant to be perfect. You're meant to own your flaws, own your scars, stand in your vulnerability, and use that as a power tool to teach, to guide, to connect. I wasn't actually able to connect with people until I started accepting those flaws and parts of me that actually became a part of my story. Like this right here. Not everyone can talk about their alcohol. Not everyone can talk about their cannabis experience or any other substance. But let me tell you something. You are here for greatness, and you have a story too. You have so much power inside of you where no other human is greater than you. God put his children on this earth as equal to him in his eyes. Yet we are out here searching for perfection or lusting for what other people have, comparing our lives to what other people have, comparing your body to what somebody else looks like. To work on yourself. And don't take the focus off working on yourself. Those people that are in your life, I hope they are really good people in your life that love you for you and love you as you're on this journey of finding yourself, because you need people around you. I'm not saying seclude yourself from the world. I'm saying you need to know who you are, know your goals, and go and align and attract with those kinds of people that are like-minded. But when you're intoxicated, you don't know what you want, you don't make good decisions, and oftentimes we choose comfort rather than accountability and thinking logical of, will this actually benefit me and my future? Start to think about, is this going to benefit my future? If it's not going to benefit your future, then stop giving attention to it. It's just a no. Get really good at saying no. I feel like I wouldn't have been able to become this beautiful if I didn't stand on my boundaries, if I didn't take that redirection and was like, I know that I deserve better. I know that I want better. So I actually have to start moving differently, moving as my dream woman that I desire to become. I need to start moving as her, being intentional like her, showing up like her. When I show up to any event, I don't need to open my mouth nor drink my way to comfort. My aura does the talking. What I radiate with my shoulders, my posture, my eyes does the talking. How I carry myself, and I'm very self-aware with my flow, with my body, with who I am. That's enough. And that should be enough for you. Work on the little things that you can do for yourself, and don't rely on anything or anyone or any substances to make you feel whole, to make you feel confident, or to distract you from temporary comfort because of a season that you're currently in. I hope you guys enjoyed today's chat. I always love talking with you guys, and I really hope this message was able to bring a lot of clarity and value into your journey. I love you guys. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Also share this video to someone who may need it, because trust me, we are glowing and growing up together.